Single until somebody proves they're worth my time was what my girlfriend posted while still living with me. So I replied, good luck, have fun with that. Switched my status to happily single, tagged her, and within 60 seconds flat, her entire post vanished instantly. Hey Reddit, so a few weeks ago I found myself in one of those situations you don't really believe until you live it. One Instagram post from my girlfriend set off a chain of events that made me realize just how entitled and delusional she really was. I didn't yell, I didn't beg, I just leaned back, stayed sarcastic, and watched the whole thing blow up in her face. Buckle up because it got messy fast. I, 27 male, have been dating this girl Alice, 26 female, for 2 years, living together for 1. People always said we looked like the perfect couple. Truth is, behind the matching outfits and vacation selfies, things were getting sketchy. She cared more about likes and attention than our relationship, and I was slowly realizing I'd signed up for a circus I didn't want tickets to. Earlier that morning, we'd already had one of those dumb little arguments that somehow stick in your head. She was nagging me about not taking the trash out the night before. I told her I'd get to it after work since the bags weren't even full yet. She rolled her eyes and said something like, "You never follow through on the small stuff, Blake? That's why I feel like you don't try anymore." I brushed it off because really, it was trash. Not exactly relationship-ending material. But the way she said it, like it was proof I was some lazy deadbeat, kinda stuck in my head. So, lunch break at work, I'm scrolling Instagram, half asleep, when I see it. One of those aesthetic posts, you know, the beige background with cursive text. It says, "Single until somebody proves they're worth my time. Know your worth, queens." And it's posted by none other than my girlfriend. I didn't even get mad. I actually laughed. Like, here I am paying rent, cooking, putting in the effort, and she's out here basically advertising like she's a free agent in the draft. Cool. My move? I dropped a comment under it. Good luck, have fun with that. And then I updated my relationship status to happily single and tagged her in it. Real calm, no shouting, no begging. Just a clean surgical strike. Yeah, my status said single, but leases don't update themselves. It was more about sending a message than packing boxes that second. Her post vanished in under 60 seconds. Deleted like it never happened. But the damage was done. Her phone probably looked like a grenade went off. Mine too, because I got hit with 12 missed calls back to back. The group chat with her friends lit up like Times Square. I just muted my phone and finished my sandwich. By the time I clocked out, I already knew she'd be waiting at home, ready to do her Oscar-winning performance about how I overreacted. And yep, I was right. I opened the door and there she is, sitting on the couch like a villain from a soap ad, arms crossed, face twisted like I personally offended her ancestors. "What the hell was that about?" she snaps. I drop my keys on the counter. "Which part? You telling the world you're single or me agreeing with you?" Her jaw tightened. "It was just a quote, Blake. Every girl posts stuff like that." "Yeah, every single girl," I shoot back. "Not ones with a boyfriend sitting in the same apartment." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought she might sprain something. "You're being dramatic." It didn't mean anything. Cool. Then neither did my response. That shut her down. For about 3 seconds. Then she huffs, grabs her purse, and hits me with, "I'm staying at Bianca's tonight. Maybe you'll realize how stupid you're being." "Take your time," I said, waving as the door slammed. Here's the thing. Old me might have chased after her. Begged her to stay. Played into the drama. Current me? Nah. I ordered a pizza, fired up the PlayStation, and watched the game in peace. Honestly felt like a mini vacation. While she was at Bianca's probably venting about how I embarrassed her, I was sitting there laughing at the thought of her scrolling through my status update, stewing. The best part? I did everything she hated in one night. Gaming for hours, check leaving pizza boxes on the counter, check having fun without her, double check. And I know some dudes will ask, why didn't you just break up right then? Let me explain. When you're dealing with someone that delusional, you don't just walk out, you let them implode. It's way more satisfying to sit back and watch them light themselves on fire with their own nonsense. Sure enough, the buzzing on my phone didn't stop all night. First it was her, then random notifications I didn't care about. All voicemails about how I was ruining a good thing. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there with breadsticks like, a good thing for who? It's wild how quick the script flips. She posted she was single for attention, but somehow I'm the villain for saying good luck. That's the kind of mental gymnastics she trained for. Honestly, I think if ignorance was a sport, Alice could medal in it. Anyway, I slept like a baby that night. No snoring in my ear, no phone lighting up with, "Where are you?" texts. No passive-aggressive comments about how I don't fold laundry the way she likes. Just peace. For the first time in months, I actually felt like myself again. And this was just the warm-up. I knew her stunt wasn't going to stop at one Instagram post. Girls like Alice don't just take the L and move on. No, they double down. But me? I was ready. Because when you stay cool, sarcastic, and unbothered, there's nothing scarier to someone who thrives on drama. That Instagram post wasn't just a quote. It was her opening move. And my comment? That was me putting the ball back in her court with a smirk. She wanted attention. Well, she got mine. Just not the kind she thought she'd get. The next morning, I wake up to about 20 unread texts. Half from Alice, half from Bianca, her bestie/bodyguard who thinks she's the spokesperson for women everywhere. All the texts said the same thing. I humiliated Alice. I embarrassed her. I need to apologize. My favorite one was from Bianca that said, "A real man doesn't act petty on social media." I stared at that text and laughed. A real girlfriend doesn't go online pretending to be single. But hey, details, right? I ignored both of them. Made coffee, took out the trash just to spite her earlier rant, and headed to work like nothing happened. If she thought guilt-tripping me through her bestie was gonna work, she seriously underestimated my ability to not give a damn. By lunchtime, my phone buzzes again. This time it's her mom, Shannon. 7 missed calls. I finally pick up just to see what script she's reading from. "Blake, sweetheart," Shannon says, putting on her concerned mom voice. "What's going on?" "Alice is devastated. She said you attacked her online." "Attacked?" "Lady, she's not storming the beaches of Normandy," she posted a coffee quote. "She posted she was single," I said flat. I confirmed it. Simple as that. You know how girls are on social media? It's just for fun. Oh, so cheating is just for fun too? Because that's what it looks like. Advertising. Shannon went quiet like she hadn't prepared for that line. Finally, she huffed. "You need to apologize." She's very upset. She knows where I live if she wants to talk. Then I hung up. The thing about Shannon is, she's the original source of Alice's entitlement. The woman acts like her daughter is God's gift to men, and every guy should be thankful just to stand in her shadow. Of course she was going to run defense. That's all she's ever done. That night, instead of wallowing, I actually enjoyed myself. Ordered wings, played a couple hours of PlayStation, then hopped on Discord with my buddies. They all had a field day when I told them what happened. One of them even said, "Bro, you're free now." Don't waste it. He was right. Meanwhile, Alice was still at Bianca's place, because the group chat lit up again. This time, Bianca sent me a wall of text about how I violated Alice's trust and publicly humiliated her. Apparently, my one comment under her post was the equivalent of broadcasting her secrets on CNN. I replied once, "Real girlfriends don't pretend to be single online." Blocked. That fast. Guess she didn't like her own logic thrown back at her. And I know some people will say I was being petty, but here's the thing. I didn't start this. I didn't wake up one day and think, "Let me declare I'm single while I've got a live-in boyfriend." That was her. I just matched her energy. If she can post quotes, I can post reality checks. By the third day, the noise started slowing down. Alice stopped texting and switched to silent treatment. Bianca wasn't in my inbox anymore, and Shannon had probably gone back to nagging Roger, her husband, about his long hours. The storm was calming, but you could feel it. She was building up to something bigger. See, Alice doesn't just drop things. She escalates. She'll take a dumb mistake and triple down until it turns into a full production. And I had a front row seat to the upcoming show. That Friday, I come home from work, unlock my door, and immediately notice something different. The smell of perfume I didn't spray. The faint sound of muffled voices in the living room. My gut told me she was back. Sure enough, I walk in and there she is. Sitting on the couch with her arms crossed, Bianca next to her like a sidekick, both staring at me like I was the villain entering their courtroom. Alice starts first. "We need to talk." I toss my keys on the counter. "About what? You being single? Or me agreeing with you?" Bianca cuts in before Alice can answer. "You humiliated her, Blake. Everyone saw. You made her look like a fool." I smirked. "She did that herself. I just left a comment." Bianca's face went red. Alice huffed like I was missing the point. "It didn't mean anything, Blake. It was just a post." "Cool," I said, leaning against the counter. Then my response didn't mean anything either. "So what's the problem?" They both sat there, sputtering, trying to spin it like I'd committed some grand betrayal. The funniest part? They were acting like I had to earn their forgiveness, not the other way around. I didn't give them the satisfaction. I just stood there, calm, unbothered, watching them try to twist logic into origami. After 10 minutes of them going in circles, I finally said, "All right, you two done? Because I've got leftover pizza and a new game waiting." Alice shot up, furious. "You don't even care, do you?" "Nope," I said, smiling. "Not about Instagram quotes. Not about fake outrage. Definitely not about babysitting you and your friends' delusions." Bianca gasped like I'd slapped her. Alice stormed out, dragging Bianca with her, both of them mumbling about how I'd regret this. I shut the door, sat down, and cracked open my pizza box. Best meal I'd had in weeks. The way I saw it, that was round one. She tried to guilt trip me through her army, and it failed. She wanted me chasing after her, groveling, apologizing. Instead, I sat there enjoying dinner, controller in hand, completely unfazed. And I could already tell she wasn't done. People like Alice never are. A couple days later, I get a text from my buddy Randy. He works at the same marketing firm as Alice. Randy's the kind of guy who doesn't care about drama. So if he's messaging me, I know it's worth paying attention. Text said, "Yo, thought you should know. Alice has been having lunch every day this week with that new account manager, Cody. Looks friendly." I read it twice. Cody, same guy she'd told me 2 months ago, gave her weird vibes. Apparently, the vibes weren't that weird if she's now breaking bread with him every afternoon. So I do a little digging, pull up her Instagram. She'd already wiped our couple photos like she was editing me out of her history. But I notice she still follows Cody. I tap on his profile. Every post of hers for the last 3 months, he'd liked them. Even the gym selfies at 6 a.m. with captions like, "Early bird gets the gains." Bro was basically drooling through the screen. I screenshotted everything. Not because I planned on blasting her, but because when people like Alice start rewriting history, you need receipts. That night, Alice texted me for the first time in days. "Are you ready to talk like adults?" I couldn't resist. I fired back, "Sure. Should I invite Cody too? Or is this just between us?" She read it. No response. So, I figured that was the end of it. Wrong again. 2 days later, I come home and almost laugh when I open the door. Sitting at my dining table like they're staging a UN summit. Alice, Bianca, her sister Miranda, and her mom, Shannon. 4 faces looking at me like I was about to be tried for war crimes. I shut the door behind me and said, "Wow, didn't realize we were having a board meeting today." Shannon jumped in first. "Blake, this has gone too far. Alice made a tiny mistake posting that quote. You're blowing everything out of proportion." I kicked off my shoes, calm as ever. "Right. Saying you're single while living with your boyfriend is a tiny mistake." "Got it." Miranda chimed in, arms folded like she was the lawyer of the group. "You're focusing on the wrong thing. She loves you." "Funny way of showing it," I said, tossing my keys onto the counter. Finally, Alice spoke. She hadn't said a word until now. Tears in her eyes. Not sad tears, but that angry, frustrated crying where they're mad you won't play along. "You ruined everything. Ever since your comment, Cody's been weird and pulling back. He said I came off like drama. I actually laughed. Couldn't help it." "So you admit there was something with Cody?" She shook her head fast. "No! We were just friends. But he was interested. And now he thinks I'm toxic because of you. I could have had something better, and you sabotaged it. Something better. While we were together. The entitlement was Olympic level." "I wasn't going to do anything," she continued, voice rising. "I just liked the attention. Is that so wrong?" "Yes," I said flat. "Next question." Shannon tried to step in with her guilt trip voice. "We were planning Thanksgiving, Blake. I already bought a bigger turkey. You two can't just throw this away." "I'm sure Cody likes turkey," I said with a shrug. Miranda cleared her throat like she was about to drop the bomb. She needs to stay here until she finds a new place. She can't keep sleeping on Bianca's couch. It's not healthy. I leaned against the wall. That's unfortunate. But she left, remember? Told me to think about how stupid I was being. Still thinking. Don't like the results. Alice shot up from the couch. "Fine, but I'm taking everything I bought for this place." "Go ahead," I said, waving toward the apartment. And she did. She tore through the place like a tornado, grabbing stuff I didn't even realize she cared about. The coffee maker? Gone. A throw pillow from the couch? Stuffed in a bag. She even yanked the shower curtain down like she was looting a hotel. Weird, but whatever. Then she got petty. Took all the batteries out of the remotes. Stood there with a fistful of AAs like she'd just won a battle. Finally, she marched over to my PlayStation. "I'm taking this too. I contributed to it." I stepped in front. "You bought one game. Season 22. You can take the disc. The console stays." "I bought groceries that you ate. That money could have gone to the PlayStation," she snapped. Even Shannon looked embarrassed at that one. Miranda turned away, probably pretending not to know her. They packed her things into garbage bags because, in their rush, nobody brought boxes. As they dragged them out the door, Alice turned back, face red, eyes puffy, voice sharp. "You're going to regret this. No one else will put up with your boring ass." I smiled. "I'll take my chances." They stormed out, leaving the place half empty but peaceful. I sat down on the couch, flipped on the TV with no batteries in the remote, and had to laugh. Because if this was her power move, it was weak. She thought taking a shower curtain and some AA batteries was going to break me. All it did was prove I was right. She needed the attention, the drama, the chaos. Without it, she was just nothing. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't over. Not because I wanted her back. Because people like Alice don't know how to bow out quietly. If Cody was already backing away and she was camping at Bianca's, it was only a matter of time before she tried her next big stunt. The funny part? I was actually looking forward to it. Didn't take long. By Monday morning, my buddy Garrett sends me a link with zero context. It's Alice's Instagram story. I click it, and there she is, posting one of her little slideshow performances. First slide, sometimes the trash takes itself out. Second slide, upgrading in all areas of life. Third, when he can't handle your glow up. And then the finale, a photo of her and Cody at some upscale cocktail bar, glasses raised like they're celebrating a merger. Caption, "New beginnings with better energy." I just laughed. If she thought that was gonna sting, she clearly forgot who she was dealing with. I wasn't jealous. Honestly, I was relieved. She just publicly confirmed everything I already suspected. But here's where it got good. She tagged the location. And guess who works there as a bartender? My cousin Steve. Later that night, I get a text. "Bro, your ex is here with some dude. They're on a date, but she won't shut up about you." It's weird. Even with him cooling off, he still agreed to grab one drink to talk. And she spun it like a full-on upgrade. I tell him to keep me posted. An hour later, another text comes in. She's literally comparing this Cody guy to you non-stop. Like she's trying to convince herself she upgraded. Dude looks uncomfortable as hell. Quick pause, fellas. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way. Thanks so much for your support. All right, back to the drama. So now I'm sitting on my couch, picturing Alice trying to sell Cody on the idea that I was some jealous loser. Meanwhile, Cody's stuck there sipping his drink, realizing he walked straight into drama quicksand. Steve gives me the play-by-play. Apparently, Alice says, "Blake never took me to places like this." Steve, knowing me, probably laughed because I did, and she called them pretentious. Then she tells Cody, "Blake was too insecure to let me have male friends," which was hilarious because she had plenty. I just wasn't okay with her deleting couple photos, while another dude was liking her gym selfies. By the end of the night, Cody looked like he wanted to crawl out of his own skin. Steve said when Cody asked about her last relationship, Alice launched into a 20-minute monologue about how I was emotionally abusive for responding to her post. The grand evidence? Screenshots of me asking her to help with rent because she hadn't paid a dime in 6 months. Real abusive stuff, right? Finally, Cody had enough. Paid for his drink, bounced. Left Alice sitting there alone with her half-finished cocktail. And then she made her dumbest move of the night. She tried to flirt with Steve, not realizing he was my cousin. He told her straight up, "You know Blake's my family, right?" She went pale and bolted. The next morning, I get a LinkedIn message of all places. It's Cody. "Hey man, I wanted to apologize. I didn't know you two were still together when she started pursuing me. She told me you'd been broken up for months. I'm not that guy. Just wanted to clear the air. Also, heads up. She's telling people at work you were abusive, and she was looking for protection from a real man. Good luck, bro." I sat there laughing at the irony. She dragged me for being boring, then immediately nuked her shot with Cody by making the entire date about me. Couldn't have scripted it better. So yeah, I screenshotted the message, saved it in my little evidence folder, and decided it was time to send a petty little reminder that I wasn't the one crying on cocktail bar stools. I hadn't posted anything on my personal IG in 2 years. My account was basically a digital ghost town. But that night, I broke the silence with a gym selfie. Caption, "Single life hitting different. Thanks for the motivation at Alice Lee." 10 minutes later, she blocked me. But not before Miranda, her sister, slid into my DMs to scold me. That was unnecessary. She's going through a lot right now. I replied once. So was pretending to be single when she wasn't. Actions have consequences. That's how life works. Left her on red after that. And honestly, I felt amazing. For once, I wasn't caught in her chaos. I wasn't begging, apologizing, or defending myself. I was just living, while she was out there digging her own hole deeper. Thing is, Alice is the kind of person who can't survive without an audience. Every move she makes is for attention, approval, validation. When Cody bailed, she thought she'd still have Bianca hyping her up, Miranda covering for her, and Shannon running interference. And maybe they would for a little while. But deep down, I knew she'd start wearing them out too. Because that's the thing about delusional people. They're consistent. They'll burn through every backup plan, every safety net, until eventually the only person left to blame is themselves. And I had a front row seat, popcorn in hand, watching her glow up turn into a full-blown meltdown. Didn't take long for her next move. That Friday, I come home from work, and there she is, parked outside my apartment door with 2 giant suitcases. I swear she looked like someone waiting for a Greyhound bus that never showed up. Hair messy, mascara streaks down her face, hoodie half-zipped. The front desk even pulled up the security footage later and emailed me a clip. Turns out she'd been sitting there for 2 straight hours like she was auditioning for World's Saddest Ex. As soon as I turned the corner, she jumps up. "Blake, please." I messed up. I leaned against the wall, didn't even pull out my keys. "Yep, we can talk right here." She tried to edge closer to the door. "Can we just go inside?" "Nope," I said. "Public conversations only. Safer that way." That clearly wasn't the answer she wanted. She shifted into tragic victim voice. "I got evicted from Bianca's. Her roommate came back from Europe early and Cody told everyone at work about our date. They're calling me a homewrecker. I have nowhere to go." I raised an eyebrow. "You literally wrecked your own home. That's on you." Her bottom lip trembled. "My mom's place is too small. Miranda lives with her boyfriend and I miss us." I smirked. "You miss free rent." And just like that, the tears vanished. She snapped out of sad girl mode like a light switch, voice climbing, eyes narrowing. "You owe me! I wasted 2 years on you. I decorated this place. I made it a home. You can't just throw me away?" I held up a hand. "Correction. You threw yourself away the second you posted you were single. Don't rewrite the script." That's when my neighbor Carl cracked his door open. He's this big guy in his 40s, bald, always wearing some old band t-shirt. He leans out and goes, "Everything okay, Blake?" "Yeah," I said, loud enough for Alice to hear. "Just explaining to my ex why she can't move back in." Carl nods. "Oh, the one who was cheating with that Cody guy?" My daughter saw it on Instagram. Alice spun around, face redder than a stop sign. "I wasn't cheating. I was just advertising for replacements," Carl interrupted, then went back inside like he'd just delivered a mic drop. I almost applauded. At that point, security came up the hall. Apparently, Alice had told the front desk she lived there and lost her key. They called me to confirm, and I told them she'd moved out. So here come 2 guards, clipboards in hand, ready to escort her. And that's when she went nuclear. "Wait! I'm pregnant!" I laughed. Couldn't stop myself. "No, you're not." Her eyes bulged. "How do you know?" "Because we haven't been intimate in 2 months. You were always too tired or not in the mood. Remember?" Even one of the guards tried not to smirk. The other one coughed into his hand, badly hiding a grin. She stomped her foot like a toddler denied candy. "You'll never find anyone like me." "I pray to Jesus for that," I said calmly. The guards escorted her toward the elevator while she yelled about betrayal, wasted time, and how I was going to die alone. I shut the door, locked it, and finally sat down on the couch. The whole thing felt like a live-action sitcom, where I was both the star and the audience. An hour later, my phone lights up. Caller ID, Shannon. "Against my better judgment," I answered. "How dare you embarrass Alice like that?" She screeched the second I picked up. "She's desperate. You've ruined her reputation." "She ruined it herself," I said flat. "She needs a place to stay." "Not my problem." Then Shannon pulled the wildest card I've ever heard from a parent. "If you take her back, I'll pay her portion of the rent for 3 months." I literally had to pull the phone away from my ear to laugh. "So you're trying to pay me to date your daughter?" Dead silence. Then she muttered, "She just needs support." "That's really sad, Shannon. Goodbye." I hung up before she could spin another guilt trip monologue. Here's the thing. Alice thought she had leverage. She thought if she cried hard enough, screamed loud enough, or lied big enough, I'd cave. What she didn't realize is, once a guy checks out mentally, the game's over. She was still trying to sell me the deluxe drama package, and I'd already canceled the subscription. And yeah, I knew this wasn't her final act. She'd be back with more tricks. That's how people like her work. But after watching her burn through every card, sympathy, guilt, even a fake pregnancy, and still lose, that was better than any Netflix special. For the first time in years, I felt completely untouchable. And honestly, I couldn't wait to see what circus stunt she'd try next. Turns out, it was TikTok. A few days later, my sister texted me a link with the message, "You're gonna love this." I open it, and there she is, sitting on Bianca's couch, front-facing camera, fake tears queued up, launching into her new series, Dating After Emotional Abuse. She'd put on soft background music, held a mug like she was some wise life coach, and started spouting gems like, "Healing from narcissistic relationships is about recognizing red flags. Like when he gets upset if you authentically express yourself." Translation, me not clapping when she declared herself single. Next clip, she says, "Isolation is a big warning sign, when he keeps you from building healthy friendships." Which was wild, considering the only friendships I questioned were the ones with dudes drooling on her gym selfies. I nearly dropped my phone laughing. The videos had, maybe 200 views each? Mostly her friends leaving supportive comments like, "Preach, queen," and "So proud of you for speaking your truth." She thought she was about to go viral. Meanwhile, I was screenshotting everything and filing it in my evidence folder. Not for revenge, just because people like her always rewrite history, and I like keeping receipts. But she wasn't done. A week later, I get dropped into a random group chat. The title, Intervention for Blake's Commitment Issues. Members, Alice, her mom, her dad Roger, first time he'd gotten involved, Bianca, Miranda, and a couple randoms I barely knew. First message is from Alice. "We all care about you, Blake, and want to help you face your patterns of control and hostility." Roger jumps in. "Son, I think you need to man up here. She deserves an apology." Me. "I did man up. That's why I'm single." Cue the flood of messages. Bianca accusing me of gaslighting. Miranda calling me cold. Alice sending dramatic paragraphs about how I destroyed her trust. So I dropped 3 screenshots. Her original post about being single. Cody's LinkedIn apology. A still from the building security clip showing her camped outside my door with 2 suitcases. Then I typed, "Yeah, I'm the problem. Good luck with that." Left the chat. 5 minutes later, Roger calls me privately. I expected another lecture, but instead, he sighs into the phone. "I didn't know about the Instagram thing. Shannon told me you just randomly attacked her online." "I'm sorry, son. Honestly, she gets this from her mother. Entitlement runs deep. Why do you think I work so much overtime?" Click. He hung up before I could even reply. That was the most honest thing anyone in her family had said to me in 3 years. I figured that was the end of it. But nope, Alice had one last Hail Mary left. The following Monday, I get an email from my HR rep asking if I can swing by her office. I walk in, and there, sitting at reception, are Alice and Shannon, dressed like they were about to present evidence in court, folders in their hands, whispering to the receptionist. HR pulls me into the office and closes the door. "So, your ex and her mother showed up claiming you've got anger issues that could affect your work performance." I actually laughed. "Do you believe them?" She shook her head. "No, but we take things seriously. Security is escorting them out right now. We're issuing a written no-contact notice, and security is banning them from the building." Music to my ears. I walked out just in time to see security leading them toward the exit. Shannon looked furious. Alice looked smug, like she thought she'd won. Until the guard scanned her visitor badge and said, "You're banned from the building moving forward." Her face dropped like a cartoon character, realizing gravity exists. Later that night, I reported her TikToks for using my photos without permission. A week later, her account got suspended. The abuse recovery coach career ended before it even began. I thought that was it. But then she slipped again. She made a fake Finsta account, one of those burner Instagrams with a random username, and started following me. I knew it was her because she accidentally liked one of my posts from 2019 at 3 in the morning. A photo of my old car. Only one person on the planet would scroll that far back just to creep. I screenshotted it, saved it, then blocked the account. Here's the truth. I wasn't even mad anymore. I was entertained. Every stunt she pulled just made her look worse. Every desperate move, every fake story, every failed attempt to paint me as the villain. It all backfired. And the best part? I didn't have to lift a finger. I was untouchable, and she was burning herself out trying to get a reaction I wasn't giving. It's funny how when you stop feeding the chaos, people like her just start spiraling faster. That's exactly what happened. By the time I was living my best life, Alice was busy speedrunning self-destruction. First, her job. Garrett, my buddy who worked at the same firm, hit me up one morning. Dude, your ex is about to get canned. She's been skipping meetings to film TikToks in the office bathroom. Managers had enough. A week later, yup, she's out. Officially fired. Apparently, the Cody fiasco hadn't helped either. Word got around about her chasing him while she was still living with me. Add in the TikToks painting herself as some survivor of emotional abuse, and coworkers stopped taking her seriously. One guy even told Garrett, she's always crying about her ex. Don't get involved. So yeah, the girl who called me boring and replaceable, now unemployed, living out of suitcases, and banned from my apartment complex. And her family wasn't doing much better. Roger, her dad, finally snapped. He called me again, random evening, and flat out said, this is the last straw. I can't deal with your ex and her mother's entitlement anymore. I'm filing for divorce. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Next up, Bianca. Remember, she was supposed to be Alice's ride-or-die bestie, the one always hyping her up, blocking me, writing essays about how I was toxic. Yeah, that loyalty ran out quick. I found out through a mutual friend that Alice had basically turned Bianca's apartment into her personal flophouse. Eating her food, never cleaning, blasting TikToks all day, ranting about me every night. Bianca eventually had enough, waited until Alice went out, then changed the locks. Texted her after, you're not welcome back. Find somewhere else. Beautiful. Miranda, her sister, wasn't much help either. She made some vague Facebook posts like, disappointed in family members who can't take accountability. Everyone knew who it was aimed at. Honestly, it read like even Miranda was embarrassed to defend her anymore. And Cody? Dude transferred to another office completely. Packed up, dipped, didn't even look back. Can't blame him. Nobody wants to be the rebound circus act. The cherry on top came when Alice tried one more stunt, a GoFundMe. I kid you not. She made a page titled Healing from Emotional Trauma, with a sob story about being abandoned, jobless, and homeless after an abusive relationship. Goal: $5,000. Her mistake? Posting it on her public Instagram where all my friends could see. Within an hour, Garrett sent it to the group chat. The roasting was immediate. Comments like, didn't you just try to move back into his place last week? And, shouldn't emotional trauma pay for its own groceries? Popped up. My boys even donated $1 each with messages like, for new AA batteries and buy another shower curtain. She shut the whole thing down in 2 days after getting clowned nonstop. By then, I'd stopped even keeping tabs. She was nuking herself just fine without my help. My energy was going somewhere better, forward. Because while she was busy spiraling, I was actually moving on. Met this girl Thea at my rock climbing gym. Total opposite of Alice. Grounded, funny, zero interest in social media drama. When we first matched on Hinge, the first message she sent was, just so you know, my relationship status is accurate across all platforms. I laughed so hard I knew she was a keeper. We started hanging out. She made me forget all the noise with Alice ever existed. No games, no drama, no fake tears, just chill. And as if fate wanted to hand me a victory lap, Alice couldn't help but embarrass herself one last time. She posted another quote selfie, eyes puffy, hair messy, captioned, single by choice, healing from trauma, ready for my glow-up era. Someone commented, weren't you just begging your ex to take you back? Post deleted within the hour. That was the final note. No big showdown, no final speech. Just her deleting her own mess while I was out climbing walls and laughing with Thea. Looking back, it's almost funny how much I used to stress about Alice's drama. All those late nights arguing, second-guessing myself, trying to figure out what I did wrong. The truth? I didn't do anything wrong. She was just addicted to attention, and I finally cut the supply. She wanted me groveling. Instead, she got silence. She wanted to upgrade. Instead, she downgraded to unemployment and GoFundMe scams. She wanted to humiliate me. Instead, she humiliated herself. Sometimes, the trash really does take itself out. And sometimes, it tries crawling back in with suitcases, fake pregnancies, and TikToks about healing from abuse. Doesn't matter. Because the one thing I learned from this whole mess is simple. When you stop playing their game, they lose every time. And me? I didn't just win. I leveled up.